Hello and welcome to the Healing Rain broadcast. I'm Sue Detweiler, and I am so happy to get to know you. And I have been enjoying the comments from you, and it's a journey that we're taking together. We've just begun 21 days of prayer and fasting. And if you want to download a spiritual retreat type of guide that will help you during these next 21 days to go to a fresh place of intimacy with Jesus Christ, I'm looking forward to just being on that journey together. And today we are in day 2, and we are going to experience really the outpouring of the Holy Spirit and to believe Him for more. Doesn't that sound great? I'm excited because today we're talking about thirst. So let me ask you this question. What are you thirsty for? What is it in your life that it's really deep inside of you and nothing else can satisfy? We all have areas of life that it may be our dream, our hope, our desire, and it's something that we really need Jesus to come and to help us. We've all been created by God with purpose, but sometimes we get stuck in the mundane and nothing feels like purposeful living. We have dreams, we have desires, and we may start out thinking it's a God idea, and all of a sudden it becomes our own idea. But if we're honest, it's only Jesus that can satisfy. I love the image of thirsting for God because it's so elementary to our faith. This scripture says, as the deer pants for water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. That's Psalm 42. And I love this because I grew up in Indiana, and we had a lot of deer then. And then I was in the beautiful state of Tennessee for 28 years. We really learned to love the trees and the hills and the valleys of Tennessee, the water brooks, and we would see deer. And for many years, we lived along a path that led to a park. It was a walking trail with trees and streams. And every day on my walk, I would see deer. And the deer would walk along the path. They were not afraid of people. And there was a spot on the trail that, in order for them to be able to get to water, they had to openly cross the trail. So on a daily basis, I would see family of deer crossing over to get water. Nothing could stop them. And since it was my prayer path, whenever I needed to hear from God, I would find myself going there to pray. So at times I would be working at home, and I would know that I needed more of the presence and power and wisdom of God, that I would just take off and take a walk for prayer and be able to listen, because I don't know about you. I really don't think anything is worth doing unless it's God doing it, and it's His initiating His dreams inside of you. And then when there's problems, you know that it was God's idea in the beginning. So you're seeking His counsel on how to proceed. In that season of time, Wayne and I were both associate pastors at a congregation, and we oversaw a number of different things. We loved it. And one of the things I oversaw was I was a principal of New Song Christian Academy. So that meant 250 kids. It was a homeschool academy. So I was homeschooling and the kids were going. I mean, it was life. It was full. And yet, here we were at one point, and one of our buildings that held New Song Christian Academy needed to be updated. It needed a sprinkler system. And oh my goodness, it was supposed to, you know how remodels go. It was supposed to be done by the time school started, but it was very evident that that wasn't going to happen. So I had invited all of my staff over to my home for a meeting because we couldn't use the building. and so, and I'm needing to tell them that I have no idea where we're going to be, but to be in faith and for us to believe God to provide a building for all of the kids for a whole half a year. So we got together. And when I was walking down that path on that day, I saw 5 deer. And one of them was a beautiful albino, an all white deer. I mean, it was fabulous. It really caught your attention. And as I looked and these 5 deer, 5 is a number of grace. And I remember, sometimes you have this intimate love language with Jesus, and numbers is one of the things that I'll hear him speak to me. And I knew at that moment, this was an answered prayer. I whispered to Jesus, thank you. You've heard my prayer. And I knew at that moment I had a gift of faith, and I knew that everything was going to be fine. So as we met that day as a group of teachers, praying teachers, and we prayed for the ability to move forward. And whenever there's change, people can cancel or drop off, or there's all sorts of things. And a whole building, there's so much organization. So miracles really happen when you fix your eyes on Jesus. And you may not be able to relate to that story, but for me, at that moment, it was an impossibility that I saw God move in a miraculous way through the relationship of our senior pastor. Another church completely gave us their building for the first half of the year to use. I had an office there. The kids went, and you know what? We didn't lose a single family. And the same time that this was happening, my assistant principal, who was a great friend of mine, had breast cancer, and she wasn't there. And I saw God come through. Not only did he provide the building, he kept the school going. It's still going today. I mean, it's such a fruitful ministry. And I'm so grateful to God for that. But whatever your impossibility, and maybe you're facing one right now, maybe you're not sure how rent is going to be paid, or you're not sure how you're going to get a job, or you're worried about your prodigal daughter or son. And I just want to invite you, whatever the problem is of your day, I want to invite you to drink deeply. Drink deeply. And here's Psalm 42 in the Passion Translation. I long to drink of you, O God, drinking deeply from the streams of pleasure flowing from your presence. My longings overwhelm me for more of you. Don't you feel that way? Don't you sometimes just desire more of Jesus? I know, I do. And it's not something that I can wait. I'm so thirsty, I need it. Verse 2 says, my soul thirsts, pants, longs for the living God. I want to come and see the face of God. Day and night, my tears keep falling, and my heart keeps crying for your help. Sometimes our prayers, our cries that are so deep, we can't even put words to them. Sometimes our prayers are groans and sighs and tears. And as we wait before the Lord and we thirst for him, he is going to meet our needs. And all of us need to develop that thirst for God, just like we need to develop a thirst for water. I don't have it beside me right now, but for my birthday, my brother got me a huge Yeti cup. It's the kind that you can fill up to the top with ice, and it's just amazing because it stays cold all day, and cold water filled with ice, it just makes you want to drink more. That fresh water that springs. When I grew up, we would go every year to Michigan, and there was a church camp, and you would take just a little walk to an artesian well. And I mean, that water was cold and fresh and always running. And we need that. We need that water. We need to search for God. King David is the one who wrote Psalm 63. And as he did it, he was one of those worshipers. He loved Jesus. And there was a long period of time that he was in the wilderness. Now, I can't imagine what it would be like to live in cold caves with a bunch of smelly men for almost a decade, because it was the lawbreakers, the outcasts. Those were the ones that came and joined David in the wilderness, and he was an outcast too, because Saul, his previous king that he served, wanted to kill him. And these men that joined David became David's mighty men, and they did great exploits. But I want you to imagine David penning this psalm, Psalm 63, and he's writing it in the wilderness. And for those of you that feel like you're in a wilderness right now, I want you to hear this longing. Part of what helps us when we go through hard times is we realize that we're desperate for Jesus. Here's the psalm. Oh, God of my life, I am lovesick for you in this weary wilderness. I thirst with the deepest longings to love you more, with cravings in my heart that can't be described. Such yearning grips my soul for you, my God. I'm energized every time I enter your heavenly sanctuary to show more of your power and drink in more of your glory. For your tender mercies, they mean more to me than life itself. Is that where you're at right now? That you desire more of God's tender mercies than even life itself? David continues, he says, for your tender mercies mean more to me than life itself. How I love you and praise you, O God. Daily, I will worship you passionately with all of my heart. My arms wave banners of praise. There are times that we may not feel this way. We may feel down, depressed, isolated, afraid, rejected. And there are times you have to just really begin to get desperate for Jesus. Waving those banners of praise. I I have 6 children, if you don't know me, and now I am the Mimi of 6. I'm so happy. And but when I was raising these children, they came quickly. They were like 2 years apart, and then we adopted our 2 sons later. But I had children ages 6, 4, 2, and newborn. And as I had that many children, I did not feel like I was the best mom in the world. I didn't feel incredibly close to Jesus most mornings, or I would have to seek him. And so I began to put prompts in our house. At that time, I had a box of banners and streamers and a tambourine. And of course, the girls loved things like that. So I'd be homeschooling them and I would shout, dance break. And we would begin to wave these banners and jump. I'd turn some music around. And you know when I did that more than not? I did it when I felt down. I did it when I praised God when I felt depressed. I when I felt overwhelmed. And I want you to know that he met me there. He met me there with all of those children. We didn't have phones like you have today. I mean, here's my phone, and it's like I carry a computer around. You know, you're able to stay connected to people. At that point, I think my husband had a beeper, and that was, you know, a big deal. I could call him, and my number would show that I wanted him to call me back. So we have so many conveniences today, but oddly enough, I do not think all of these conveniences are helping us to become more passionate for Jesus. And in fact, for most of us, the phone, we have a love-hate relationship because it can distract us. Do you lie awake at night like David did, where you are praying to God in the wilderness? Or do you find yourself that you're grabbing your phone, you're listening, you're going to the restroom and checking the news in the middle of the night? I mean, these phones are distraction to us. You know, that hunger and that thirst for God's presence. You know, during these 21 days of fasting, you may have to put things aside in order for you to pursue Jesus more fully. You know, some people, part of what they fast is they fast social media because that becomes a distraction for them. Whatever it is in your life that's keeping you from seeking Jesus, you got to turn away from that and turn towards Jesus. You know, sometimes we turn to our phones, and I know many struggle with pornography and, you know, that endless well of addiction, of any type of addiction. You know, it's like a broken cistern that the world offers. And you drink from it, and it's like you're drinking from a puddle of polluted water. Or sometimes it's just the American dream that you're hungering for. You're looking for promotion. You're looking to be known by men. You're looking for accolades. You're wanting prizes. And there's got to be something in your heart that says, no, I want an audience of one. I've tried everything else. I went to the broken cisterns of the world. But let's be clear on this. God, I need you. I need you only, Jesus. You are my first desire. I am so thirsty for you. Oh, let me drink of that living water. Well, I have a treat for you as we close. And before I share that treat, I just want you to know that if you want to be able to find out and have a guide to go through these 21 days of prayer and fasting, just go to SueDetweiler.com. My email, not my email, but my last name is spelled Detweiler. Or this podcast is on Charisma Podcast. You can go to the show notes and you can look. But more than that, I want to close in a special way. I want to play a song that I had the privilege of co-writing. And this song is something that was really revelatory. And let me give you some background. It was while Wayne and I were associate pastors. And there was someone that was a part of our life group at the time, and I was mentoring her. And she was in Nashville, you pastor lots of song artists. And Marianne Adams had traveled with Sierra for years, and just talented, gifted woman. And she came to me, and her prayer request was writing songs, and that she was stuck and she needed help from the Lord to be able to write songs. So I prayed for her. And then that night, I woke up and I had lyrics to a song, and Marianne and I began writing together. And then another person that was so instrumental in my life, and if you're listening, Pastor Dale Everest, just give you a shout out. He pastors New Song Christian Fellowship in Nashville, Tennessee. And one Sunday morning, he said to the congregation, he said, and I believe it's prophetically, he said, I believe there's songwriters out there, and I really believe the Lord is calling you to be intentional and write songs that have meaning. Well, he said that morning, and I had faith, and I began to seek the Lord on writing a song. And I began to think about another problem. Remember, I told you about my assistant principal, my friend, Phoebe Warnock is her name, and she was an assistant principal at New Song Christian Academy for years. And she had breast cancer, and she needed healing. And so that was on my mind. Phoebe was on my mind. And I began to write lyrics to this song that you're going to hear, Healing Rain. And then Marianne and I got together and we pounded out some things on my piano. We listened to the Lord. And then we came together with Pastor Dale and fine-tuned the lyrics. Why do I share that? I think it's important because, intimacy with Jesus is our first step. But intimacy with Jesus will always lead you to be intimate with other people, with right relationship. And out of that intimacy with Jesus and an intimacy with a life-giving congregation, there's a lot of fruit that can come. And out of that intimacy, this song, Healing Rain, came. So as you close, I pray as you listen to this, that he would soak you with his presence, that there would be such a refreshing that you would know that Jesus cares and that Jesus is the only one who will satisfy your longings for him.
Soak me with your presence, cleanse me with your love, fill me with your power, healing rain. me by